Yeah.
Another impressive young midfielder in the league, Konstantinos Karetsas at Genk. He saw his market value increase by 7 million euros this month to 35 million euros. Bart, I think you were telling me before we started recording here, he's not only the most valuable player in the league, but he's also the most valuable player ever in the Jupiler Pro League. So before we get on to speculation and where he might play next season, why don't we talk about what he's done this season and what has led to him becoming the most valuable player in Belgian football history, I suppose.
Yeah, he surpassed the 32 million of Arda Güler last season. Yeah, he was already on the covers of Belgian newspapers at the age of 15. In the winter of 2023, he left the youth of Anderlecht for the youth of Racing Genk. And the amounts that are speculated back then, even Club Brugge wouldn't offer that for him. So Genk really made a big effort to bring him back, actually, because he lives about, I think, 500 meters from the stadium of Racing Genk. And there, at that point, the players in the Belgium second division, where the under 23 teams of Genk, Anderlecht, Club Brugge play in, were allowed to play there from the age of 15 instead of 16. So immediately he played there. At the age of 15 and a half year, he broke several records as the youngest player ever in that league, the youngest player ever to score in that league. And he immediately made an impact. So Racing Genk could not do anything else than put him into the first team. And we all knew that this season would be his big breakthrough season. He's a playmaker with a lot of flair, a lot of technique, left-footed, a very good vision. He's also a first-team player for the Greek national team already for a whole year. Basically, he loves to play as a playmaker, but what Racing Genk also does is put him on the right wing because they have a very offensive right back with Zakari Elouadi. So he can go inside with his left foot. And or he can distribute, or he can score. I think he's already more at 10 assists this season, whilst Racing Genk has really not have a good season. They even not managed to qualify for the Champions playoffs. And yeah, normally if you go from Belgium and you're a top talent, like the Cat, but also like De Bruyne or company, you first go to ambition mid-table team from the top 5 competition. And if you're good enough, then you go to the top. With Caressas, we see him immediately going to the top. And not like the Cat for being loaned out. We think he already could have immediately an impact at the top club from a top 5 competition. But therefore, they have to pay, of course. And that's why we put in market value at 35 million euros. And if we're looking to transfer fees, we know Genk is demanding between 40 and 45 million euros. So I think at that point, if we compare that, his market value is correct. And most probably at the top transfer fee in Belgium ever paid was a 36 million of Jazari last summer. I think Genk will want to break it just to break the dominancy of Club Brugge at every place.
Yeah, very interesting. So, obviously another player who's linked to a number of clubs. In the case of Caretsas, he's been linked to Chelsea, Real Madrid, but perhaps most notably Arsenal are the most persistent reports for the midfielder. So do you think, considering the standards of the clubs that we're talking about here, do you think, unlike the Cat, you think he's ready to make that level, to make that jump for a club, say like Arsenal, and obviously no one's expecting him to start for a club like Arsenal, but you think he's ready to contribute to the first team from next season?
Yeah, that I think it is, like you said, he will not be a first team player from the start. There, the advantage is Greece didn't qualify for the World Cup, so he will not go to the World Cup. So if the transfer is concluded very early in the transfer period, he will make the full preseason with his new club. But I think he will indeed be in the mix. Some substitutions at the start. And then maybe in the latter of the season, he gets his first team spot. But I think every team that will attract him will try to put him in their first team and not attract him for the future.
Very interesting. Definitely a player to keep an eye on. And obviously, if you're an Arsenal fan or Chelsea or Real Madrid fan, something to maybe get very excited about.
Well, we know that his favorite team is a Premier League team. And we don't know which one that they wouldn't reveal.
Okay.
But they know that we know already for a year that they are very interested in him. So that's why we think Premier League will be the next destination.